How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper, and my goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading whether price is going up or down. Hacker robs crypto exchange BitTrue 23 million in Ethereum, SHIB, and other assets. So yet again, another exchange has been hacked. Crypto exchange BitTrue announced this morning that it had identified an exploit in one of its hot wallets. The attacker was able to steal about $23 million in assets, which was spread across ETH, Quant, Gala, SHIB, HOT, and Matic. Hot wallets are a type of crypto wallet that are used to store cryptocurrencies that are connected to the internet at all times and easily accessible. These are, however, more vulnerable due to that to cyber attacks and theft than you would see from a cold wallet, because cold wallets are not connected to the internet at all times, only when you're trying to access them. If you want a little more information on what different wallets are and what kind of wallet you should probably be using, please refer to my intro to crypto videos. We're going to be releasing another one tomorrow or possibly Sunday, depends on how the editing goes, and the first video will tell you what kind of wallet you'll want. So BitTrue reported that the affected hot wallets held less than 5% of the exchange's overall funds, and they have suspended withdrawals until April 18th. In 2019, they got another attack for $5 million, which got some XRP and some Cardano due to an internal review vulnerability that let hackers see customer assets. So this particular exchange has been hacked twice. So that's a good example why not your keys, not your coins. Make sure you're holding your own coins on a ledger. Again, watch that first video and it'll get you set up. 190 million in Ethereum staked to network in the last 24 hours. But it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Per data collected from Nason, gross staking deposits have hit 198.7 million or 94,800 Ethereum over the past 24 hours. Staking has taken center stage following the network's latest Shanghai upgrade on Wednesday. This change allowed users who potentially had their ETH locked up for 2 years to finally withdraw their holdings, except for users on KuCoin or some other exchanges. Getting back to the latest data, ETH deposits are still negative, however, indicating that there remain overall more entities withdrawing than staking assets. So the people you see adding their ETH in are most likely those who had it in Ethereum 1, or the base Ethereum, and did not convert to Ethereum 2 because they wanted to make sure that the Shanghai upgrade went off without a hitch, and now that it has, they're joining the network. SEC Hester Peirce says Gensler's plan to target DeFi undermines our First Amendment rights. US SEC Chair Gary Gensler has made it clear he's getting tough on crypto, and today the American regulator revealed he's not leaving out the industry's most complex space, DeFi. In a Friday announcement, the SEC said in a press release that it would revisit plans to change the definition of what is considered an exchange. This would include DeFi or decentralized finance protocols like decentralized exchanges. Make no mistake, many crypto trading platforms already come under the current definition of an exchange and thus have an existing duty to comply with the security laws, Gary Gensler said in a Friday release. However, Commissioner Hester Peirce said that in an announcement that this sends a message that we are uninterested in facilitating innovation and competition in financial markets and instead seek to protect incumbents. Peirce further criticized the Commission's plan as overly broad and said its ambiguity undermines fundamental First Amendment protections. Peirce elaborated because the release makes everybody involved in the relevant blockchain ecosystem part of a group, and it creates significant ambiguity around what speech requires government pre-approval and which will unavoidably chill constitutionally protected speech. So basically, Peirce is saying this is a slippery slope. If we prevent people from being able to use DeFi protocols because they don't have government approval to transact with each other, then we could be censoring people more than that we are actually legally allowed to. For those of you that don't know, DeFi is a space in crypto which aims to make things much like taking out a loan, earning interest on savings quicker, accessible to all, and automated, unlike banks. So DeFi, instead of you going to a bank to get some money, it's a group of random people that say, hey, I'm putting my money in this pool to get a return, and a protocol giving you a loan out that uses that money. But there's like credit checks and other things that are still there. So it's not just a Wild West free-for-all like Gensler thinks. Speaking of Gary Gensler, he kinda got shattered today. In just 2 days, Ripple filed its response to the US SEC and Exchange Commission's letter of supplemental authority. The SEC filed this letter on Monday in support for its motion for summary judgment. The U.S. authority brought forth a Massachusetts District Court opinion in a case against the Commonwealth Equity Service LLC, dated April 7, 2023. According to the SEC, the decision confirms that the Howey test does not require a separate fair notice to Ripple. I don't think they know how precedent works. Usually you use a case before the case that you started. First, unlike Ripple, Commonwealth did not present any timely evidence on the fair notice defense. The broker merely cited SEC guidance and presented a paid expert witness. On the other hand, Ripple presented a plethora of evidence from the SEC's very own filings and its communications with third parties. These show that responsible market participants who sought to understand that the SEC would permit or prohibited considered XRP not to be an investment contract. So they presented information from the SEC that showed that, hey, we are understandably not a security. The closest case, according to Ripple, is the Upton case, which the SEC excludes from its list because it is an appellate decision. Hence, the letter concludes that the case is binding precedent and ruled in favor that the defendant's fair notice defense. This court should do the same, and Commonwealth does not change that. So Ripple's saying, hey, there's a case that the SEC lost, but they're not citing that case because it does set a precedent for our victory. So onto the charts. Bitcoin dominance is taking a nosedive today, but Bitcoin's managing to pump despite that. Stochastic RSI heading down, red dot forming on our momentum wave, our money flows coming out, and our VWAP's heading down, so overall we look pretty bearish. Didn't get any comments to go into lower time frames, so we'll leave it at that. Our total market cap for altcoins is getting a bit of a breakup, got about halfway of where we targeted the other day. Example why you don't want to go for the full target all the time, because you're not guaranteed to get there. Sometimes you go past, sometimes you won't get there. Just take a decent, sizable portion of a profit and ride out some the rest. Like take your initial and some profit, and you could ride out a little bag if you want to ride it out and take a risk. But not financial advice, but that's typically what you'd want to do if you're going to try and get a breakout. Because it's better to sell here than to sell down here. So we pretty much broken out. We're getting a spinning top candle, long upper shadow candle, kind of. So that could become a worrisome candle if that does make a long upper shadow and we kind of inch down a little further. Stochastic's starting to roll over. RSI is trying to pump, but if that stochastic starts to get weak, that RSI is going to weaken. Momentum's trying to head up pretty strongly, but it's likely we're going to start to roll over here if price and our stochastic starts to come out. Our money flow did not get very high. Our VWAP is heading up, so we're going to have to kind of watch this. This could be a little temporary break. We could see a little bit of a rollover into some stable coins. Bitcoin didn't really go very far today so far. We tried to break way up and try to get to our breakout point from this bull flag. Another prime example why you don't want to take the full breakout. Our stochastic is starting to diverge away and has a bearish cross, so we could see some bit of a fall from here. RSI is flatlining, momentum starting to flatten out and could get a red dot soon. Our money flow is somewhat starting to go flat. Watch out for a rollover. Our VWAP's trying to ride this neutral zone, so it's getting real close to breaking. If it can roll up, that would be good, but we're going to want to see these other indicators remain strong as well. So we're kind of just riding that high value area, but we'll get into that in the 4 hour because it'll be a little easier to see. So we got a big massive drop on this 4 hour. Then we came down, broke our high value area, hit our point of control, tried to bounce off of it, and then we came back down after rejecting our high value area, and we are currently trying to break above our high value area. If we can manage to break above here and hold, we may get one more push upwards. However, if we reject away from this area, it's very likely that since we've tested this point of control, our next move would be to break the point of control and bounce off the value area low. So I'd be very cautionary. I know I've been saying that for like 2 weeks now, and we pumped up, and now we're crashing down, and you probably think I'm nuts. But momentum's starting to kind of curl away. If we can keep that up, that would be a positive sign for us. Stochastic's heading down pretty strongly. RSI is making lower highs and kind of flatlining. And we have some bearish divergences highlighting that I was warning about the last night. Over on the 2 hour, Stochastic's kind of beat down. Tried to make a bullish cross, but it looks like it could kind of flop over here. RSI is pointing down, so it could start to lose strength as we have no strength. Our money flow is overall heading down very slightly, so that is slightly concerning, and you'll want to keep an eye on that. Our VWAP is heading up, which is a positive sign, as it could test to break this neutral zone and come into the bullish zone, which could help propel the medium times a little higher. So you want to watch if that can push. But if that kind of rolls from here, that could be an indicator that everything else could start to roll as well. Over on the 1 hour, you can see we're kind of starting to roll. We're testing that high value area, so the next couple candles are going to be pretty important for us. Our RSI is pointing down, Stochastic could get a bearish cross and head down. VWAP's overall rounding off. Our momentum is starting to round out, and our money flow overall is starting to head down. So I'd say we look pretty bearish, and unless we get some surprise momentum off this point, it's likely we could break here. So I'd exercise caution. If we take a look on the futures, we have not created any new gaps. If you want to see what gaps we have and what I think about this zone that we're in, please watch my futures update short from earlier this week. So over on graph, we are kind of pumping up out of this rising triangle we had. Almost got the full move on this one. Everything's not getting the full move, so if it hasn't nailed in your head yet, don't always go for the full move. Pigs get slaughtered. So we have a red dot here on our momentum, above our momentum, our RSI, our stochastic, everything just bearish looking. Stochastic's got a bearish cross. Momentum's rolling over with that red dot. Money flow's starting to come out. Our VWAP's heading down and is crossing bearish. So it's looking like a kind of toppy signal here on the 1 hour. So let's go back to the daily and we'll work our way back down so you can see a little better what's going on. So we kind of hit this point here where these other candles are. That would be called a local resistance area. So if you had a line there, good job. If I'll kind of show you why you would want a line, horizontal line. So we have two candle bodies that touch here, candle body here, a wick here, a wick here, two candle bodies here, and we kind of got rejected here, got rejected here, rejected there, rejected there, rejected there, and every time we've gone up, we've gone down from it. So that's how you can kind of map out that is a resistance. If you want to leave this on your chart, you can. I'll leave it on mine. I like to make my resistances black if I'm going to leave them, if they're a big horizontal line like that. Usually I'll do that for like a major key area, kind of like Bitcoin, those psychological areas. But with further ado, stochastic is trying to push up, RSI is curling up, momentum's kind of starting to round out here, our VWAP's trying to head up, and our money flow is attempting to cross bullish. If that bullish cross can confirm, that would be a good move for us. But with this rejection after this breakout, it's likely we could cool, especially since we got almost an 8% move today. We are pulling away. Got red dot on our momentum, red dot on our RSI. Stochastic's trying to fall, but it could make a bullish cross. It tried to make a bullish cross and kind of is starting to pull away from that. Money flow is heading down, so that's not a good sign for that daily. And our VWAP overall is losing ground and attempted to break twice. Over on the 2 hour, we're getting a red dot here on our stochastic. Jeez, can't get the words out. Our stochastic's starting to kind of roll over. RSI is pointing down. VWAP's starting to roll over here. Our money flow is coming up, so money flow is looking pretty decent. We're kind of flattening out though, so that is cause for concern. And everything else is being bearish. That's why it's a cause for concern. And back to the 1 hour. Everything's looking pretty bearish. Have that bullish bearish cross. Red dot that could confirm. These are both yet to confirm. And our VWAP could break bearish. But our money flow is trying to push up. So money flow is trying to go higher. But everything else looks like we could get a little bit of a relief from here. We have hit this resistance a few times on the 1 hour. Which every time you do that, it gets weaker. So keep that in mind. As if we make a bounce off here, this will be weakened. Over on ankr, I did not get rid of those black dots. If you have these and you want to get rid of all them black values, you can just uncheck this box, hit OK, and then if you want to save it as a template, save as, and then you could always overwrite by clicking one and then clicking OK. I'll kind of show that in the updated video for that. We did hit this high value area for ankr here, and we are kind of pushing away from it. We do have a long lower shadow candle though, three in a row, which is a pretty bullish pattern, kind of rounding here. So we could end up breaking it if we end up pumping tomorrow, but we'll kind of have to see. With the way the total market cap for altcoins is looking, I'm a little worried about that. Stochastic's kind of curling, but is overall heading down. If it can curl and make a bullish cross, that could save us here. Momentum's trying to get a green dot, so that could help push us forward. VWAP's crossing bullishly, heading up kind of sharply. We'll need that to continue. Money flow's trying to cross bullishly, so we'll need that to cross and not kind of flop over. So the next few candles will be next few days actually will be kind of important. With it being the weekend, we might just get some flat action, or we could just get a big move out of nowhere. Usually those are the two possibilities on the weekend. Because the weekend, there's lower volume, so it's easier to manipulate. Stochastic's starting to fall, RSI's starting to fall, momentum's starting to fall, but did curl up and is trying to print a green dot. Our money flow's trying to come up here and is in the bullish territory, so that's good for us. Our VWAP is trying to head up, so that is slightly good, but we'll want that to keep going and get a little bigger, as it's just a little bit of a peak up to the bullish zone right now. But we are looking okay. If that stochastic can curl, that RSI could kind of bounce off and kind of start to propel us forward. That could be the case with the way this money flow and this green dot are looking. But like I said, watch out. We did bounce off our point of control, so that is a strong bounce. But we're close to our high value area, so that's also a strong area to get rejected from. Excuse me real quick. Over on the 2 hour, we had our rising channel. Kind of broke up from it, but we ultimately broke down and did get to our zone that we had. So that's an example of where you'll get a little bit of a manipulation pump out to kind of get people excited. Got stopped out by this resistance area and came down pretty violently. We are trying to get back through that resistance though, so if we can do that, that would be positive for us. We did bounce off this support after breaking it, but we have 3 touches on it, so it is getting weaker. So if we roll over and come back down to it, that is cause for concern. We are kind of back in this channel too, so could be a bearish channel. Oop, can't grab that because it's so tiny. Not gonna mess with it. Our stochastic's heading up, trying to kind of curl away. RSI is trying to head up. Momentum's trying to head up, has a green dot that confirmed. VWAP is heading up. Money flow's overall heading up. So we are looking pretty decent here. Could propel us forward. But our momentum, if we kind of get around this resistance area and momentum doesn't just skyrocket, we'll have a bearish divergence on our momentum on the 2 hour. But that doesn't necessarily mean we'll just dump it, but it is a cause for concern. Over on the 1 hour, our money flow is kind of pointing down after kind of pumping up. So we'll want to watch it if it can maintain this zone. If it can maintain, take a little bit of a relief bounce, that would be good for us. Momentum's trying to head up, but with the way we're seeing this big blue wave, we might start to curl. Stochastic's starting to curl off, RSI's pointing down. So, and we are getting a reversal arrow after a pump up, signaling the previous trend could end, kind of like we got back here, way early signal, but it did get invalidated by a green dot. So that green dot ended up taking over, got manipulation X, came down. So overall, I'd say we could take a little bit of a bounce down if our money flow starts to come out and our stochastic and RSI fall too strongly. And if our momentum gets a red dot and doesn't kind of curl away with a green dot soon after, like a candle or two after, then I'd be a little concerned. Over on XRP, got a bit of a pump today, full breakout to our triangle. After the snooze that we covered tonight, our money flow is trying to come up, VWAP's trying to come up, momentum's trying to come up with a green dot, stochastic's kind of diverging away pretty goodly with a strongly with a bullish cross, so that is good for us. Our RSI is kind of curling up with this stochastic being as weak as it is. That's a pretty good sign to see. Over on the 4 hour, we're getting divergences here, so that is cause for concern. But again, divergences are going to happen in a bullish market. Our money flow is coming up, and it did kind of take a little bit of a relief, so we'll need that to keep going upwards from here. Our VWAP's trying to head back up after just dipping into the bearish zone. Our momentum is heading down, stochastic's coming down, and our RSI is coming down and starting to flatten out here. So we are a little cautionary, so if you didn't take profits already, you might want to think about it. Over on the 2 hour, momentum's trying to curl. RSI's curling downwards though, so that's cause for concern. Stochastic has a bullish cross, but it's kind of curling away. Our money flow is flattening out, and our VWAP's kind of flattening out and curling away from that neutral zone. So the 2 hours not looking too strong there with that VWAP. But if that stochastic and money flow can start to recover and we get a green dot in momentum, that could save us. Over on the 1 hour, our stochastic's about to make a bearish cross, momentum's about to flop over. Our money flow is heading down, but overall is coming up, and our VWAP is kind of rounding off. Stochastic's starting to come down as well, our RSI is starting to come down as well. So overall, we look like we could retest support again. Since we already retested it, we may break and test our other support area from the bottom of our triangle. So watch out for that. And last but not least, algo got a pretty decent pump today. Broke over our point of control. So if this can continue, this would be a good sign for us. But you'd want to wait for this to confirm and see kind of how tomorrow plays out. But tomorrow could just play out to a big candle to the high value area, and then the next day it could be a rejection through the point of control as well. So manage your risk properly. Stochastic's trying to head up, RSI is trying to head up, momentum's trying to head up with a green dot, and our VWAP's heading up. Our money flow is trying to come back up. We'll have to see if we can break that neutral zone and actually get some bullish momentum from here. So looking pretty decent on the daily. 4 hour, our stochastic's coming down, could kind of round out. RSI is looking pretty similar to everything else, coming down but flattening out. Our momentum's coming down, money flows overall coming up. VWAP took a little bit of a hit, but could try and come up back up bullishly here. So to see if that can happen. Over on the 2 hour, you can see we broke from our triangle that we had and kind of went with it from there. We're somewhat in an upwards channel, so use caution. Our momentum is getting a green dot, kind of like I said, to watch out for XRP, and is heading up. Stochastic's kind of rounding off there. RSI is kind of rounding off there. Our VWAP looks like it could flop over, and our money flow is kind of inching downwards. So even though we got that green dot, we're not looking the strongest on the 2 hour here. Over on the 1 hour, RSI is kind of curling off and flattening out. Stochastic's looking like it could get a bearish cross. Money flow overall is well into the green zone. Our momentum is kind of rounding off, and our VWAP starting to round off. So the 1 hour looks like we may get some sort of a relief downwards, since we got a pretty decent pump up here. So we may retest like right in this zone, this 22.5, and then could make a bounce from there, as that's a kind of support area for this range. Or we could retest one of these lower areas. If you want like further indicators on some of these other coins, feel free to let me know in the comments which coins you're more interested that you don't see more things on like you see on Bitcoin, and I'll make adjustments. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a great night.